Hello everyone. So, I have just watched, well not just, but I've watched Netflix's latest show, Iron Fist, and I enjoyed it. It could have been better, but I thought it was still pretty good. And it got me to thinking, what other characters could go well in the Marvel Netflix cinematic universe? So I've compiled a list of my top favourite choices here, in no particular order, and we will begin that soon. But in honour of Iron Fist, the series, I have decided to do a new thing with my channel, where each video I will have an honorary character of the day. And today's honorary character of the day is of course none other than Iron Fist. So, without any further ado, let us begin. My number one spot shouldn't surprise anybody out there. It's the character that has almost been guaranteed, but not quite yet. And that is, of course, the Punisher. Now I know Netflix have already pretty much announced Punisher will be getting his own series, and I say that is definitely a good idea, and obviously he has to be played Jon Bernthal, who in my opinion stole the show in Daredevil Series 2. Now, I belong to a very small group of people that thought Thomas Jane was amazing as the Punisher. And when I first heard about this recast, I wasn't happy, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't. But it did not take Jon Bernthal long to convince me that he was the Punisher. He was perfect for that role. He captured that dark, damaged attitude so well. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what the Punisher can do in his own show. But if the Punisher returns, it begs the question, does he return alone? To which I say, no. I don't think he should return alone, because there's one character in the comics that I've always loved that I think should return as well. I want to see the return of none other than Microchip, the arms dealer turned tech advisor for Punisher, the Robin to his Batman. Well, actually, technically I suppose it's more of the Oracle to his Batman. I've always loved this character. He's funny, he's entertaining, and he can kick ass when he needs to be. But the question is, who could play this character? And, well, you probably won't be surprised to know at this point, I have an answer for that as well. Meet Nick Frost. None other than Simon Pegg's old comedy partner. But, just like Simon, over the years since, Nick has proved himself to be a versatile actor and entertainer, and I think he would be ideal casting. I mean, he even looks like Calculator. I mean, Microchip. Sorry, Calculator is a different character altogether. He even looks like Microchip, who is a middle-aged, fat, nerdy-looking guy with glasses. So there's that. So we've got the hero, we've got the sidekick, but as anyone out there knows, what a true story needs is a villain. Hammerhead, the tough, no-nonsense mob boss who has, in some stories, adamantium plates, in other stories simply steel plates throughout his body, including the vast majority of his skull, making him practically bulletproof. He's not actually a Punisher villain, but I think he would add a lot to a Punisher story, especially in the current Marvel Netflix universe. I mean, think about it. Kingpin comes out of prison to find his gangs have been taken over. There's a new mob boss running around called Hammerhead. He knows that he can try and take him out himself, or just step out of the way and let the Punisher once again do his work for him. Hammerhead is a role that I believe David Sawyer could play perfectly. I think he would bring new depth to the character, and David Sawyer's not really had a chance to shine yet, unfortunately. He always plays the goofy comic relief, or when he does play a villain, it's in a film where he gets shot by his own men. So yeah, give the man a chance. So there you have it. My number one pick is the Punisher. My number two choice, which is a choice that would really tie things in, I think, with the MCU main universe, is She-Hulk. And I think she should be played by someone who I've loved ever since I first saw Xena, and that is, of course, Lucy Lawless. I just think she's got the right look for She-Hulk. Now, the way that I would work She-Hulk into the Netflix MCU is have her first come in as her human counterpart, which is Jennifer Walters. Have her come in pre-She-Hulk, so she's normal looking, and I would bring her in to a Daredevil series as a prosecutor, because she was a lawyer before she became She-Hulk. In fact, I think she still is a lawyer, and there was a time she was prosecution. So I think having her come in opposing Matt on a big case as a prosecutor, and then have her get shot by a gangster that she's prosecuting or something along them lines, and Matt Murdock and Iron Fist or whoever saves her, but something during the healing goes wrong, and Bruce Banner's called in to donate blood, and voila, you got She-Hulk. Now, I think She-Hulk should have two villains in her first series. She should have somebody who matches her physically, who she has to fight. Someone like Thundra, and somebody behind the scenes, the puppet master, if you will, which should definitely be the leader. And I think they should be portrayed by Gwendolyn Christie as Thundra. I do apologise if I've said that name wrong. And another one I'm probably going to say wrong, Robert Napier, I think would make an awesome leader. Now, Gwendolyn, I'll admit, I picked purely because of her size and the fact that she shows in Game of Thrones that she can handle herself. But Robert Napier, however it's pronounced, I think would make the leader brilliant simply because he's such a fantastic actor. I mean, you may know him as Teabag from Prison Break, where he played a racist paedophile who people should have hated, but he's so charismatic in the role that it just made him a fan favourite character. And I mean, let's face it, to make a paedophile a fan favourite, you've got to be doing something right. And I just think he could bring that to the leader, and quite possibly make the leader one of the MCU's best villains. So yes, that is my number 2 choice, She-Hulk. My number 3 choice is another character that I love, and it is Blade. In the first 2 Blade films, and certainly the first one, are what made people realise that comic movies can be for adults as well as children. And although I love Wesley Snipes' portrayal of him, I think for the Netflix show we need somebody different. So I say playing Blade should be Michael Jai White. For anybody who doesn't know who he is, I thoroughly recommend checking out a film called Blood and Bone. He's the protagonist in that, and you get to see what an ultimate badass that man is. He's a martial artist, a powerhouse, and a damn good actor as well. And I think he's just perfect as Blade. I mean, he played Spawn in that crappy movie, but please don't hold that against him. Because yes, I think he would make an awesome Blade. But again, a hero isn't much good without his villains. And I think his first villain should be Morbius, the living vampire. Now, a lot of you won't know who Morbius is because he's a very underused character. But I still remember the first comic I saw him in, which was actually a Blade and Spider-Man team-up comic, because Morbius is both a Blade enemy and a Spider-Man villain. And yeah, I think he would just be a great first villain to sink your teeth into. No pun intended. So, the question is, who should play Morbius? And my answer is quite simply, Dexter Fletcher. There was a time where Dexter Fletcher was on everything. He's an amazing actor who just, at the moment, doesn't get seen enough. I mean, I think the last thing I saw him in was a bit part as the main character's dad in Cockneys vs Zombies. He's only in it for about a minute. But no, he's a good actor. He has never played a role like this before, and I think it would give him a great opportunity to show just how talented he is. Now, you'll notice I said first villain, and that's because I think Blade and Morbius should be enemies for the first few episodes, and then have to begrudgingly work together, because Morbius isn't an out-and-out villain. At the moment, he's an anti-hero. He's being a villain, a hero, and an anti-hero. And I think they should have to eventually work together to take on the show's true bad guy, which will be none other than Dracula himself. Now, I'm sure as soon as I've mentioned Dracula, there's a lot of people that have gone, oh god, it's going to be Blade Trinity all over again. But I'm not talking about the Dracula from Blade Trinity. I'm talking about the proper Marvel Dracula, who is one of the most powerful villains in the Marvel lore. He's an amazing character, and if he's portrayed by a good enough actor, again, he has the potential to be one of the best MCU villains. and for that reason I think he should be played by Peter Stormare, another amazing actor who has the right caliber. He has the look, the voice and the skill to make Dracula great. So there you have it, my number 3 choice, Blade. My number 4 choice may seem a strange one to some people, but it's another character that I've always loved that's underrated, and that is a character called Werewolf by Night. For those of you who are not aware of him, Werewolf by Night is a member of the Howling Commandos, started by Nick Fury, which is basically a commando team of monsters. Werewolf by Night is, as the name would suggest, a werewolf, but unlike most werewolves, he can control his transformation, can transform whenever he wants, and when he does transform into a werewolf, he still has his human mind. And he is unfortunately not very well known, but he is a fantastic character. The character's real name is Jack Russell, which I think is quite a fun little pun. And I think that Werewolf by Night should be portrayed by one of my all-time favourite actors, who played one of my all-time favourite characters, and that's James Masters. Now, in the comics, Werewolf and Blade have a past, but we don't know what the past is. We just know they do not. There's something about them, they do not quite like each other, but they have fought side by side in the Howling Commandos. And I would want eventually the Howling Commandos to be the next step after Defenders. I think that'd be a good idea, to get the supernatural brought into it and have the next team up be the Howling Commandos. So in Werewolf by Night series, I would include Blade, and I would include Morbius, and I would give him Dracula as a villain as well, obviously played by the people I mentioned in the last spot. Now, I do know that this probably seems like a strange choice for a lot of people, but I have always loved Werewolf by Night, and I genuinely think he has been done a disservice by Marvel because he's not used enough and he's not mentioned enough. I mean, in comics, how many good werewolf characters can you name? There's not many, and it's a shame. But I mean, imagine a Howling Commandos series with Wolf by Night, Blade, Morbius, the Living Mummy, and even Frankenstein and Man-Thing all fighting side by side, and tell me that would not make an awesome series. So yes, that is why my number 4 choice, as odd as it may seem, Werewolf by Night. My 5th and final pick is Moon Knight. Now, I have to be honest on this one, I don't know that much about Moon Knight. I know little bits about him, but the little I do know makes me think he's a very interesting character, and I'd like to find out more about him. Now, to play him, I have picked, and I will say this name wrong probably, so I apologise in advance, David Boreanaz. Now again, this might seem as an odd choice to some people, but I still remember seeing him as Angel in Buffy and in Angel, and the fact is, he can play badass, he can play tough, and I enjoy him when he plays that sort of character. and I think he would bring a lot to this character. Now, for his villains, before I get to that, I think Moon Knight should start off in the Punisher series as a friend of Castle's. But I think he should, for his villains, he should get Bullseye, who I know is a Daredevil villain, but the fact is, the story with Bullseye and Moon Knight, I cannot remember what it's called, is one of the best stories I've ever read. And Taskmaster, because again, I think Taskmaster's sort of character would go well with Moon Knight, and I think it'd bring in a whole load of new fans. The thing I have struggled on, and you'll notice I've not had mention of it, is who could play Bullseye and Taskmaster. So if you can think of anyone, please do comment on who you think you could play them characters. So there you have it. My fifth choice, Moon Knight. And that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. And as I say, in the comments, please do tell me if you think different characters should appear or the same characters with different actors. I look forward to hearing from you all soon. Thank you again.